Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. All three commissioners are present. The notice of this was properly posted on September 30th. And before we have our prayer and pledge, we just received word that former Assessor Leonard Sullivan has passed away, and so we just want to have a moment where we remember him and grateful for his service. I think that we are all deeply saddened by this news. You have somebody?
Yes, good morning. We have a very special guest here this morning for Lejwanique Gray. Reverend Gray is a native of Lawton, Oklahoma. She attended the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, where she earned her Bachelor of Science in Biology. And following her undergraduate studies, she studied at Southern Illinois University, where she earned her Master's in Public Health. Upon completing her graduate studies, she relocated to Oklahoma City to serve her home state at the Oklahoma State Department of Health. In 2018, she earned a master's in rehabilitation counseling from Langston. She transitioned to working in public education to teach chemistry for Oklahoma City Public Schools at John Marshall Enterprise High School. She is also a licensed and ordained minister in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. She began preaching at the age of 15. She was ordained as a deacon in 2012 and ordained as an elder in 2016. She served as the youth pastor at Avery Chapel AME Church in Oklahoma City from 2015 to 2018, when she became pastor of Mount Triumph AME Church in Spencer, which I believe is where you are still the Reverend. She is the youngest of 4 children and the proud auntie of 12 nieces and nephews. She is also an active member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and her values are rooted in what Jesus touted as the 2 greatest commandments, Mark 12:30-31. Love God and love your neighbor. Reverend Gray, would you like to come up and lead our prayer?
Good morning. Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we come first before we ask for anything. We want to thank you for everything. You are the head of our lives. You are the provider of all things that we have and that we need. God, we thank you for your grace, your kindness, your love, your mercy. We thank you for a new day that was not promised to us. God, we thank you for allowing us to gather together to do the work of Oklahoma County. God, you are a God of justice and a God of order. So we know that it's only by your knowledge and your wisdom that we are able to organize and to plan and to do things that would benefit our community, God. God, we ask that you would bless Commissioner Mon, Commissioner Calvi, Commissioner Bloomert, as they carry on the work of Oklahoma County. God, we ask that you give them wisdom, give them knowledge, give them discernment. Bless all those who work for our county for our betterment. God, we ask that you bless the family of former Assessor Leonard Sullivan. God, you said, blessed are those who mourn, God. So we know that your heart is with his family and for all those who mourn his transition at this time. God, we ask that we would do everything in decency and in order, that you be glorified in all that we say and all that we do, that the best for Oklahoma County will be done today and days going forward. In the mighty name of Jesus we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Reverend Gray.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of September 20th and September 27th?
I will move to approve both sets of minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion to approve the claims?
I'll move we approve our claims.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ms. Chantel. Is there someone wanting to talk about any of the opening of the bids?
I think I listed on my comment sheet, I wanted to talk about the minutes.
Okay, I apologize. You want to come forward and talk about the minutes?
My handwriting is not great. Might have been hard to read.
Okay. I saw item 31, so I apologize.
No problem. I'm going to take my glasses off again in the hopes that this is an honest conversation that we're having and not some sort of preordained conclusion that this body truly is doing the work of the county and not the work of private interests. So wanted to have clear eyes and a clear heart, or full heart, I guess you might say. So in the minutes, I think you recorded the bids from last time. And I wanted to, since all three of you are here, and it's a special opportunity to get on your agenda as your thoughts are turning and you're setting the agenda for how $154 million is going to be spent in these coming years. You must have gotten down on your knees and prayed when you heard about that $154 million. Republican, Democrat, you must have said, wow, we can push this problem of the Oklahoma County Detention Center further down the road and further from people's minds. Because we've seen this story before. This money is going to go to private contractors, private developers, and it's going to go to private consultants. In fact, I recall reading that everybody's favorite prosecutor, Bob Macy, said back in 1991, on the eve of the glorious decision to build that jail, if you lock them up, we'll build you a jail. Sounds like that mentality has not changed in this body up to this point. And you all should be ashamed because we know from reports that you guys have been part of commissioning in 2015 that there are things that the county board can do through court services, which the county board runs, to look at recognizance release, to look at certified release, and make sure that people can get off conditionally while they are awaiting trial, constitutionally waiting their turn in court. And you have done nothing for that. You can also go to administrative reviews of cost warrants, which you and other officials in the county have done nothing to do, while other jails across the country that are going to use their ARPA funds responsibly have lowered their jail populations during COVID. They did the responsible thing before asking for money. But as the Oklahoman reported last week, the big problems that have been created by this crisis that we've all been through in the last 2 years, the last year and a half, the big problems are problems like housing for Oklahoma families. The Oklahoma City metro area is at capacity. Apartments are full, just like at the national level, 97% rental capacity. We have not seen that in my renting lifetime, and maybe not in your renting lifetime.
Are you referring to the minutes now?
This is where, if you see in the minutes, the firms that you've hired or that you're bidding for, or that are bidding for your hiring, they are going to be talking about these ARPA funds. these ARPA funds that need to be used to help the problems of the Oklahoma City metro area, not to lock more people up so you can build a jail. Because we saw in the Oklahoman, private developers, they're not going to cut their profit margins, not for building a jail, not for building affordable housing. They're going to keep doing what they're doing. And cynically, it makes me think that some of you may be greasing your palms along the way.
Okay,
I hope
anything-
not. But the point is, we need to solve problems for Oklahoma families who need help, people who are struggling, not the type of expertise that comes from architecture firms and private contractors and people who want to build bigger jails to lock more people up on technical violations while they're waiting for trial for sometimes years and for petty offenses.
Okay.
It is unconscionable.
All right, sir, I've let you speak about the minutes. Is
And
there
I
anything
will
else
address the
about?
specific. I will address the
No, you've
specific
had
omission
your-
in the minutes with the
You've
clerk.
had your time.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Chantel.
We've got two bids that were mailed in. Bid CW 22006 for bottled water and sports hydrating drinks. First is PepsiCo. And the second one is Eureka Water Company.
Of these bids, we have two that were submitted online. We have a Total Beverage Services LLC. Pure Vita Water Technologies. And that concludes opening of the bids.
I'll move they be tabulated and returned.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 4.
Item 4 is recommendation for online auction services. Your main users are the 3 districts, Sheriff's Office, Emergency Management, and we received 7 bids. Of the 7 bids and feedback from the end users, I'm recommending award to Purple Wave Auction, who would be the lowest and best bid. This bid provides the minimum amount of county labor to be included in order to take pictures and collect the information that is posted to the online service. This is the most turnkey proposal that we received, and all departments are agreeable to recommend using this vendor and seeing how well they perform. It'll be the first time Oklahoma County uses Purple Wave for these services.
Questions? Is there a motion?
I'll move approval of the recommendation of the purchasing office.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 5.
Item 5 is for a selection for our grocery products. Juvenile Justice Center is our largest using department, but social services is also starting to use this. Based upon the bids that were received, we received a lot of concern from vendors that they would not be able to meet our exact terms. We had one proposal that was able to meet terms from Bimbo Bakeries for bread products. That's just one category of all the different grocery products that we have in the bid. The other bidder that we had was US Foods, and they had other terms that we're not able to meet. And so I am recommending that for those other items on the bid, that we utilize state contract, who is Cisco Products on the state contract, and we'll see how well that goes. They have different terms as well, but I think that we'll be able to make it successful in order for juvenile and for social services to get what they need. That's my recommendation.
Is there a motion?
So I just want to clarify, you want to award the bid for one piece of it to say the name again?
Bimbo Bakeries.
Okay, and then the rest is state contract.
Yes.
Okay. I will move approval of the recommendation of the purchasing office.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any changes to the blanket?
No changes.
I will move approval of our blanket purchase orders.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any individual consideration on the consent docket? Is there a motion?
I'll move approval of our consent docket.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Um, Karen, do we have both the employees here? Yes. You want to go ahead and do your item number 34?
Good morning, Commissioners. This is for the month of September of the year 2021 to recognize our 2 employees of the month. The first one will be introduced and talked about by Miles Davidson.
Morning, Commissioners. Our superintendent nominated Jeremy Bullock, and he couldn't be here today, so I'm going to read his nomination. I have nominated Jeremy Bullock for September Employee of the Month, representing the District 3 Highway Yard as our shop foreman. Jeremy's role is an important part of the success of District 3 Highway Yard projects. He and his staff work together to keep all the vehicles, trucks, and equipment safe, serviced, and operational. He is very cost conscious and keeps his crew busy working on our yard equipment, both big and small. Now, I've known Jeremy for 12 years and have never seen a shop foreman work as hard or being as committed as he has. He's there from sun up to sundown, and he's always there to do what it takes to get it done. So, Jeremy, come up here.
And I'll add that, I think Jeremy and I were both chopping iced up sand out of a sand truck early one morning last winter. We had the Arctic blast. He's very dedicated. He's usually one of the ones opening the yard and just does a fantastic job. So we appreciate you, Jeremy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Stick around.
Stacy, are you ready for the next one?
Good morning. I'd like to recognize Scott March for this award. Scott is a very talented CAD operator, computer-aided drafting and design operator. He's really strengthened our team. As you are aware, the river's kind of out of control a bit in the eastern part of the county. We've had a lot of projects out there. We recently completed the revetment at Wilshire and Indian Meridian. Scott was provided a lot of oversight to the consultants, helped them with the surveys and the plan development, followed through on that project to a successful completion. Scott's also very customer service oriented, always assisting other departments, contractors, and citizens with their needs. He's a very quality employee and an asset to this department. Scott? Thank you.
Sheriff, Treasurer?
No, we're done. Just so they can take their picture.
Yeah. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you.
We knew they needed to get back to work, so we appreciate their time. And also, we have, it's under my district, but it's item 30, and this is for Oklahoma County 4-H. Would you like to go ahead and do that, LaDonna? So we don't keep you waiting.
Hi, I'm Mindy McNeil. I'm one of the Oklahoma County 4-H educators, and I have a couple of kids that are wanting to join us today. First is Musio Davila, and he's a member of the Memorial Wonders 4-H Club, and he's currently our Oklahoma County secretary.
Welcome.
Will you guys please stand and please join me in the 4-H pledge? I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health for better living, for my club, my community, my country, and my world. So we're here today to talk about Hugs. Hugs is an organization that we have here part with 4-H.
Can you move your mic up a little bit so we can hear you really well?
Can you hear me
Thank you.
now?
Yeah.
Just do this. Hugs is an organization we do with 4-H. It stands for Hats, Underwears, Gloves, and Socks, and it partners with the Ronald McDonald Foundation, where we give kids stuff that they need during the cold, where they're not having to walk out without socks, or they're walking out without a hat to protect themselves from the cold. So that's what we do with Hugs.
Very good.
Next, we have Ava Grace Spencer. Ava Grace is currently a member of the Oklahoma County Robotics Club, and she is currently serving as our Oklahoma County Vice President, and she's going to present a proclamation for 4-H month.
Thank you.
Dang it. Stuck to my earrings, sorry. You know what, I'm just going to leave it hanging. Whereas across our nation, 4-H is the nation's largest youth development and empowerment organization, and Oklahoma County 4-H seeks to provide a comprehensive educational experience reaching the head, heart, hands, and health of young Oklahomans in each of our communities, and provides leadership, citizenship, and life skills to our youth, resulting in well-educated, self-directed, productive members of our society. And more than 140,000 urban, suburban, and rural youth participate in 4-H activities, and more than 5,000 volunteers dedicate their time to make the best better across Oklahoma and hail from diverse cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds. And the Oklahoma County 4-H program truly is as old as Oklahoma itself and has a rich tradition developing positive role models in the state and nation and continues to develop character and still values through innovative educational programs. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Oklahoma County designate October 2021 as Oklahoma County 4-H Month and commends the Oklahoma 4-H Youth Development Program of the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service and the 4-H members, volunteers, leaders, supporters, and extension educators who have made the program a success, and urge the people of this community to take advantage of the opportunity to become more aware of this special program, which gives youth the chance to learn together and on their own as part of Oklahoma County 4-H. And join us in recognizing the unique partnership between our county and state land-grant university system. Approved this day, 4th of October, 2021.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I will move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want a picture.
Yes. Why don't you all come on up here?
Sheriff,
And
treasurer.
Your boxes over here for Hugs, will those be placed around the building for us to donate items to? Okay.
There's an easy way to get there. You can get there from here.
You may have to squeeze in just a little. Okay. All right. 1, 2. I'm gonna pick a couple. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're gonna hope that works.
All right, thank you guys.
By the way, Cleveland, Canada, by Noble, there's a historical marker about Captain Taylor removing Indians in Oklahoma, and there's a 4-H sign being blocked by some shrubbery. You might tell your family Cleveland's not even there. It's something that's in the building right now. Down by Noble.
Thank you for doing that. So now, I think
28.
we're
Yeah,
making
item
sure we don't
28.
have anybody to speak on these other items. So, District 1.
Item 28, I was appointed by this board a couple of years ago to serve on the Central Oklahoma Workforce Investment Board. And unfortunately, the times of their meetings do not work with my schedule. And I have tried for a year to attend a meeting and it has not worked out. So I think it's time for me to pass the baton on to someone else and see if one of you is able to attend on behalf of this board, but I was not able to make it work. So it's an incredible group, and they have a new CEO, Ashley Sellers, who took over after Eddie Foreman retired, and they're doing great work. We tried and tried, it just did not fit with my schedule, so.
Well, not knowing when the schedule meets and stuff like that, I mean, Commissioner Ma, if you're wanting to do it, that's great. Otherwise, I might suggest that we just refer this to policy and governance so we can sort it out and figure it out, because I don't know when they meet or anything like that right now and couldn't say. So
They typically meet Thursday mornings, one Thursday morning a month. They alternate between Pottawatomie County and Oklahoma County. So
again, without checking it,
Right.
if I could just suggest that we refer it to them that way, I mean, unless there's some urgent pressing reason before our next meeting, that way we can kind of get it figured out.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, that works for me.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and move that we refer this to policy and governance.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
29.
Item 29 is essentially the 911 board with ACOG made some updates to their bylaws. It's cleanup items. It's making sure, and I believe they are attached. It's small adjustments to, all the adjustments are in red. It's adjustments to weighted voting. It is also adjustments to cleaning up the language around open meetings, making sure that we follow the Open Meetings Act. So I believe every entity that participates in 911 is being asked to vote to accept these changes.
Is that your motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We did 30. Item 31, we've had a number of people sign up to speak about. Christopher Johnson.
Thank you all for allowing me to speak. Sorry I came underdressed. I want to speak on this item because I'm asking you all to deny this pick on the basis of him having already picked Mr. Albaugh, which happened May this year. And it's according to the Trust Indenture Article 7, Section 1, that each county commissioner get one person. And I've read this whole entire document. So on the basis of that. But the main reason why I think we should deny another pick is that we need to have an honest discussion and bring a vote to dissolve the trust immediately. Give emergency power to the sheriff and partner with DOJ to get a handle on this. We are in a state of crisis, so we don't need any more bureaucratic nonsense. We need order now and cannot wait any longer. The jail trust has accomplished nothing substantive. We lose a human being per month statistically in that jail, and the numbers of deaths have gotten worse since the jail trust has taken over. They assembled and they signed their indenture 2019, and yet they still have no plan, no realistic effort of accountability, nothing substantive have changed. And why is Mr. Williams still employed, since his employees run around like a bunch of rogue agents, violating human beings? The majority of all recorded human rights, civil rights violations, whistleblower reports, etc., are all human-made. Lack of accountability and leadership, and it has been documented thoroughly. And a jail will not fix human error. This is going to require guts to hold people accountable, and I hope you all have this. They have violated their indenture almost on a daily basis. I've read this whole document, and it's been documented publicly. If they cannot follow the law, how are they able to enforce and make laws? I ask that we have a serious discussion and a vote to dissolve the trust immediately. Thank you all so much.
Sarah Banna.
Good morning, everyone in here. This room is packed this morning. I'm not typically a morning person, so I felt like it was important for me to be here today. The Oklahoma County Jail is in an imminent state of emergency. The potential threat to mass numbers of human beings dying in that facility as a result of the ongoing negligence. For example, if a fire were to break out in that facility 13 stories high, non-automated locks, fire detectors don't work, smoke ventilators don't work, people would be trapped. It would be genocide. It's been over a year and a half since these conditions have been known by the trustees that you three appointed. You three took it upon yourselves through a vote of 3 commissioners to establish an arbitrary body of 9 appointed figures that have absolutely failed this county. Handed over 40% of our budget to 9 appointed figures whom did not have the qualification or experience in any way to be managing a maximum secure facility. That type of negligence comes back on you as well. You're responsible for that. So given the state of emergency that we are in now, out of the 9 appointed trustees that you have, Alba is the only one who is an authority on this subject matter. And he was brought in a month and a half, 2 months ago. The only other man would be Tommy Johnson, Sheriff Tommy Johnson. And he doesn't even have a whole lot of experience running a maximum secure facility. He's a former police officer, but at least he has more qualification than Kevin Calvi and the rest of the crews you guys have appointed up there. So it is time now to dissolve the jail trust and immediately call upon the DOJ to come and intervene in the crisis that's happening inside that chaotic building, or to beg and plead with the sheriff, the new sheriff in town, to take over operations and management of the county jail. The continued negligence that is creating conditions for mass numbers of people to be harmed in that facility cannot be normalized. I want you all to be aware, and if the trustees have not informed the 2 of you, he knows, Kevin knows, Kevin's informed. He's read the reports that have come out outside of the Department of Health reports, the internal reports. Y'all need to read those reports, and you need to act now. Thank you.
Mark Falk.
Good morning. I can't believe I'm up here speaking to this, to be quite honest. So, first of all, as Sarah has said, as other people have said, as we've said many, many times, as reports have said, as studies have said, as violation reports have said, we are in a crisis at the county jail. The jail trust, an illegal, immoral board that y'all know should have been put to a vote of the county voters, we know that, has mismanaged this jail day in and day out, day in and day out. It has gotten worse under their auspices. You now had an opportunity, Kevin Calvi, to appoint someone who maybe could slightly redeem this board, who could possibly bring a little bit of expertise to it. And instead, you brought in someone. Actually, here, let me let the Oklahoman describe, or this is News 9, who you brought in. So Chad Alexander, he is really nothing but a spinmeister, a right-wing extremist spinmeister. The last time he had any kind of a job involving law enforcement was when he was named they called him a part-time public information officer for Cleveland County DA Greg Mashburn. The reason I know that is because in 2014, Chad Alexander was arrested, busted for possession of cocaine, $200 worth of cocaine. When they stopped and arrested him, he actually claimed to be an assistant DA. And this is what they said in the paper. When officers made contact with Alexander and asked to see his driver's license, Alexander retrieved a wallet that contained a badge similar to the ones carried by district attorneys. His badge said Public Information Officer. When the officer asked Alexander if he worked for the district attorney, he said yes. And when the officer asked him if he was an assistant district attorney, he answered yes again. He was charged with impersonating an officer along with possession of cocaine. He later got 5 years probation for that. So the good news is, if being an information officer for Cleveland County District Attorney's Office makes him an assistant district attorney, then putting him on the jail trust should make him lieutenant governor. The two of you, I'm going to ignore Kevin Calvi the way he ignores all of us, everyone in his county. He is the person who will steal $154 million to give to his rich cronies, while 20 municipalities across Oklahoma County are completely ignored. That money was to be spread out. That money was to be spread out and to help your constituents, the entire county. And instead, we want to take all of it and plug it into something and rely on trickle-down economics, something that will enrich a handful of developers, when you could spread that money out and help all these municipalities. So, to me, Chad Alexander is about as qualified to serve on a jail trust, which is a matter of life and death, as Nicki Minaj is to be Surgeon General of the United States. So I would urge the two of you to deny this. Your own credibility is at stake here. To put Chad Alexander, essentially a spinmeister, to try to make horrible things at the jail sound better on his radio show, that does not qualify him to be on the jail trust. He is the least qualified person in Oklahoma County to be on that jail trust. So I would urge you to reject this and make Kevin Calvi go back to the drawing board, come up with somebody who actually can help us in our county jail. Thank you.
Sean Cummings.
Okay, well, somebody did not do their due diligence. Kevin, you might want to pick up on that phone and do a Google search on the people that you're going to bring before all of us. Good morning. I was talking to a business associate of mine when David Prater said that he wanted to file to get a grand jury to look into the jail and the jail trust. And I said, look, Kevin Calvi's going to do something crazy the next couple of days because that's all he knows how to do. And this is the guy he brought forth. I have nothing against Chad Alexander whatsoever. Didn't do anything to me. But this jail is in crisis. Can everybody in this room agree the jail is in crisis? Crisis. And you have the audacity to bring somebody in that is a political science major, radio talk show host, president of Alexander Companies, executive directors for Oklahoma's Future, all politics, all the way down. So here's the boxes that need to be checked for the next person we look for. I assume you're not going to send this guy through. Have you ever run a large catering company? We feed 1,600 people a day, 3 times a day. Have you managed a hotel before that sleeps 1,600 people? You would need to know how to do that. Have you ever owned or run a transportation business or delivery business? So you can move bodies around. We would have to do that. Have you ever run a jail or an incarceral facility? Because that's what we need in an emergency. I am a consultant for restaurants and grocery stores, and the only time I'm brought in is when they look like the jail. And they pay me a ton to come in and fix things, not to create more havoc, trouble, or anything else. Last week, the name floated around was Carol frickin' Hefner. And this week, we've come up with a radio guy, Chad Alexander. And that's going to fix a problem in Oklahoma? Come on, when are you guys going to grow a pair and get rid of this thing? I am sickened sickened by the amount of time I've wasted here on the same stuff by, well, this lunatic over here keeps just sticking things in to mess it up. There was something wrong with him. Literally. Do you remember when he went over to the jail with the judge and all of the police officers from the strip bar place? What's the name of the town with the strip bar? There you go. Valley Brook Police Department raided the jail to do a head count, and it was a publicity stunt to take over the jail. Do you remember that? And he brought a judge. Judge, I think it's Trong or Tran. And he managed to get the jail, and he doesn't want it. Doesn't know how to run it. What are you all going to do? You too. Because he's just reading his Google over there, man. Big deal. But he couldn't Google Chad Alexander. You literally nominated a guy that posed as an assistant DA. You have made a laughing stock out of this. You're a lazy lawyer. I told you that days ago or weeks ago. Georgetown would be embarrassed that you graduated from there, sir. Thank you.
Jackson Foote, this time only on item 31.
President John Adams, facts are stubborn things. That's not Chris Johnston.
So I'll take my glasses off again and do a do-over in the sense of trusting that this body is being honest with the work that they're doing, and that we're having a real democratic conversation and not a show for anybody. I did not know what to say when I read item 31. I was laughing because I could not cry. And I don't know if anybody in your families knows what that's like, but I know there's a lot of people in that jail who know what that's like. Because when you all were in government, palling around at the Capitol, you created this system that brings people to that jail for crimes of poverty. Fines and fees, a system that everybody in this building knows is broken, that balanced the budgets that you all could not manage on the backs of the poorest people in Oklahoma County. And you want to appoint that person to run the jail? Seems like negligence by design to me. And that's unconscionable. Let alone any of the other flaws that people have mentioned much more eloquently. Because it's in that jail that a month ago, someone died after contracting COVID who was brought back for fines and fees. They had been charged and pled in 2019, and they came back for fines and fees. Created when you all were palling around in the Capitol, and by that I mean you and the person whose name I'm not going to dignify, not to give him publicity, because I'm sure that's what, as a radio host, he's all about. We're palling around in the Capitol. Created that system that put a man on a death sentence for not being able to pay his legal financial punishment in a system that's absolutely broken. And you all know there are things that you can do to improve the ratio of detention officers, detention staff, to people in the jail. The number one problem, not the facilities, the number one problem, the ratio of people who are detained in the jail against their will, unconstitutionally, to the people who have to supervise them. You all have seen the direct supervision recommendations. It's not happening when you have 1 staff hour to 40 detainee hours. And you all, this body that controls $77 million in taxes, you all have done nothing. That's a lot of money. None of us control that much money. But you do. That's a big responsibility. So let me give you some suggestions so that you can think about how to reduce that jail population before you consider appointing any of your cronies to the jail trust and before you consider spending any of the federal funds that are coming. Invest in public defenders, people who can negotiate fines and fees for people who cannot pay them in a system that is broken and
Sir,
balancing your budget on their
This doesn't have
backs.
anything to do with item 31.
You don't think the former chairman of the Republican Party knew what was going on in the early 2000s when they were creating a fines and fees system? The guy that you are nominating?
I'm saying your suggestions.
You might be nominating?
We're supposed to limit
Secondly,
comment to
your
item
court
31.
services department, you need to look into how they and fully fund the way that they can reduce the number of people in the jail through recognizance bonds. And you need to get a commitment that the prosecutor, who I hope is still here, that the prosecutor will put the cost of putting someone in jail in front of every judge so that cost can get a fair hearing. So that judge knows what the cost is of putting those people in jail for excessive bail of $50,000. These are things that you all can do, and you should do it before you appoint your cronies so that you can pal around more and create yet another broken system that we're going to have to be back here talking about when my hair is as gray as Mr. Falk's. No offense.
Okay, I have
Somebody
nobody else signed
left
up
a
for this
microphone.
item.
I don't know if it was a radio host or not.
Okay. Discussion on item 31 from the board.
Yeah, I would like to. So first of all, I want to read just a couple of bio points on Chad Alexander, who's the nominee here. He owns a successful government relations business since 2003. He is and last year he was named Man of the Year by the Oklahoma Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for his efforts to raise funds for blood cancer research. He is a strong supporter of Right on Crime, which is a conservative organization that argues for criminal justice reform, as well as the organization known as Oklahomans for Criminal Justice Reform. He was on the board of directors for Metro Alliance, which is has the used to be called PIA, Public and Needs Associates, that is the sometimes known as the drunk tank. It's where it's an alternative for taking people to jail. So he's on the board of that, which is a very helpful and useful thing in reducing the jail population. He has also been on the board of directors for the Oklahoma Institute for Child Advocacy. I'm going to read a statement by Joe Dorman, who is the executive director of OICA, of course, a former Democrat nominee for governor. That quote is, "In working with Chad Alexander as an OICA board member over 2 years, he clearly understands the pipeline to prison created through adverse childhood experiences. Above that, I've considered Chad a friend for over 25 years, even with our political differences. I have no doubt where his heart is when it comes to solving issues faced by the men and women at the Oklahoma County Jail, both incarcerated and those employed there." So we have So also I would point out that Chad is very well aware of the problems that have existed in the jail for a very long time. He covered that on his radio show for very many years now. In my eye, he is a great story of redemption and how, he owned up to his problems and how law enforcement and the jail can actually help somebody turn their life around, which he did. Those board of directors positions I cited are all since the time he was incarcerated. He's been very forthright about that, very upfront about it. And to me, as a Christian, I believe in redemption. And Chad is a perfect example of somebody who did turn his life around, and it was because of the experience he had, going to jail, and because law enforcement, forced that issue with him. And to me, that makes him very much qualified to be a member of our jail trust. So I would move his nomination.
I do want to make one comment. regardless of whether or not the three of us are going to vote for this or against this, someone did mention, and Commissioner Calvi brought this up, of Mr. Alexander's past. I talk about this quite a lot in public. My mother is in recovery from addiction. And to use someone's addiction and weaponize that against them makes me very sad. And again, whether this is not having to do with the vote on him, but I just want to make public that we cannot use someone's addiction as a check against them. You can, let me speak. Have all of us messed up? Yes. And again, I'm not saying this to justify Mr. Alexander's position on this trust or not justify it. I had to say something. Because he does not deserve to have us up here talking about whether or not he's better now. So I have to say that. And I do want to clarify, Mr. Albaugh was our joint appointee of the board. This position that Mr. Commissioner Calvi is putting this name forward is for his District 3 appointee. Mr. Albaugh was to fill the position of former trustee Tricia Everest, and that was a kind of an at-large position. So I do want to clarify that Mr. Albaugh was not Commissioner Calvi's personal appointee.
Maybe if the sheriff was covering addicts, which I have a lot of respect for, then they would be much more compassionate with people on simple possession charges rather than bringing them to jail.
The other point is that each of the three of us get to appoint somebody, and it's very similar to how we name our chief deputy. It's not a sign-off. This is a matter of receiving that appointment. It is not a matter of us approving it. This is not something we get to approve. The way I read the indenture, each of us get our own designee. Kevin and I could not join to throw yours off. You and Kevin could not join to throw mine off. That is not an option. That's the way the indenture is written. So this is his appointment to make. And he's made a motion. You want a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The county clerk. It's a matter of receiving the appointment. All right, Jamie. This is to receive the CARES Act, the relief expenses in the amount of $3,011.73.
Move the item.
Jamie, are you here? Okay. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Cody, did you have something to say about this? Okay.
To receive the county finance authority's financial statements from the independent auditors report ending June 30.
Move the item.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We've done item 34. Item 35. We have Dana Rich here.
I think it's pretty routine. Just a renewal. I'll move the item.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Tyler?
This is also a matter of just routine. As you know, we have an erosion control bond that's placed by an applicant whenever developers develop a new subdivision. This project is over with, this phase of the project. And the developer's bank requires this, we do this formally. This is a formal request to release the bond.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Purchasing.
Thank you, Commissioners. Number 37 and 38 are related. I wanted to give a general update to the County Commissioners on item 37. This is for the retirement bid for the administrative investment services to receive a provider to do that for us. Currently, we have InvestTrust that provides these services. In June, we went to bid and received 3 bids back. And those I came back before you and let you know that they were not consistent with our specifications, and you rejected those bids. We went back out to bid in August and received 3 bids again from Arvest, Save Day, and BOCC Financial. I presented this to the retirement board last Monday on the 27th and presented that one of those bids was incomplete. They did not meet the minimum specifications and requirements of the bid. 2 of the other bids were complete. They did meet, or the proposals did meet the specifications. I did have quite a bit of concern on one of the proposals, which would by technicality be the low bid. It was a lower dollar amount for the bid. And my concerns I wanted to present to you today also, which is why this is on here, number 37. This particular proposal did not have any government experience included, and the references were not of any plan of the same size or similar to what our plan is for retirement. And that, for a couple other reasons, would be my recommendation to move forward with our final proposal. And our bid, however, does allow a schedule and in history for these bids to present, for vendors to come and present to the retirement board. When I made the presentation to the retirement board, they did vote. It was not unanimous to proceed in lieu of time to proceed with award and to bring that to you today, to bring that recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, rather than the 2 bids that were complete to bring them in for presentations. So I wanted to make sure everybody had all the information on these proposals. If there's any questions, I could answer them. But there is also item 38 is an item in the event you wanted to move forward, or item 38 to move forward, and 37 would be if you wanted to give me any additional instruction to evaluate, I can do that also.
And on this matter, we have the treasurer here who serves on the retirement board. Do you care to say anything, sir?
Thank you, Commissioner. I do have the pleasure of serving as the vice, and of course the chair serves as the chairman. There's an awful lot of work that's gone into this. I would like to say just briefly as a background, Invest Trust is getting out of, through their primary ownership, is getting out of our type of business. So that's why they have come to us and said that, and we're working with a couple of dates. With that, then the budget board took over, the retirement board took over, most particularly our purchasing agent. So that's what has led us to where we are today. We are a difficult plan for a lot of reasons. We're an excellent plan because we have so many advantages for our participants in the defined contribution. But with that, makes it difficult to to find a company that has the opportunity. Chantel did an excellent job, as I think the commissioner will agree with, and we had a lot of discussion on the budget board. I personally agree with what she has just told you. I think 2 of the 3, at least one of the 3 did not complete the bid process. I think one of the 3, a company out of Austin that I had never heard of, and that has nothing to do with it, but that's one. We're a $137 million program. They've never had a government program. They've never had one, I know one our size, but I think one above $1 million. So they've never had a plan. So that concerns me. They would have to beef up an awful lot. I was one of those, as was mentioned, it was not unanimous. I believe the vote was 6-1. But I was one of the 6 that voted for the third one, which was BOCC. And thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to at least address it.
And I was the no. And so the reason not to be against whoever we're ultimately going with, but I was wanting to have them come speak. I thought before we did this, the full retirement board had never had the opportunity to hear from the vendor. Committee did great work. Chantel did excellent work. It's not about that. And I frankly kind of wanted to hear from the second choice of the board, I guess, or the default choice, if it was the only other one that fulfilled all the legal requirements, to see if they could impress the board about how they could handle it, even though it would admittedly cause increase to their staff and as the treasurer said, beef up their operations. But anyway, it was the will of the majority board, short of me, to go forward and recommend to you to hire Bank of Oklahoma. So that's the briefing from that. Do you have any questions, either of you?
I just have a couple. Again, thank you for your great work on this. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer, and to the Retirement Board. Obviously, this is a big decision. We've got a lot of things in play for our employees that rely on this decision. And I just to ask just a couple questions. Mr. Treasurer, you mentioned that our plan is difficult. I think it's a very good plan for the employees.
Excellent.
And I commend Mr. Wilkerson, the Retirement Board, everybody else that's had input into this, and Chantel. Is there particular aspects of it that we have found that make it more difficult to find somebody to administer a plan for us?
One of the aspects that is brought up, and again, this is a lady that's a real expert on that, but one of the aspects of it is our loan program. And where you can have up to 5 loans at any one time. The loan program, again, just a little history. When you've been here as long as I do, I don't remember history, but I have a lot of it. Anyway, one of the problems, we started that loan program. Man, I'm telling you what, that became really the foundation. If you really want to know. Now, the loan program is a double-edged sword, because the dollars. It cuts down your future wages. But anyway, I digress. The loan program is the one that I think an awful lot of them had difficulty with dealing with. What was some of the others that they may have had?
Probably the primary reason and feedback from many vendors locally and nationally is our turnkey approach, where we are asking for a vendor to provide fiduciary services and the administrative together. Now, our bid did not restrict anybody from partnering with a record keeper business and a fiduciary business, but Oklahoma County would only partner in agreement with one lead or prime vendor. So that way they would take on the liability of the subsequent services, whether it be fiduciary or administrative. And that was a result of the first bid cycle. We had bids come in to propose a 2-partnership agreement, which our bid did not allow for. And then again, that was also one of the things we experienced.
I might recall also that back when the Invest Trust was brought in, the fiduciary responsibility was one that really knocked a lot of companies by their own decision out of it. So the fiduciary, and thank you for bringing that one up, because that was really big. And Invest Trust was one of the few, if not the only one, that would do that. But again, they're not going to be with us.
Well, I don't see, first of all, I agree that, combining those two functions, even if it's that they're separating out, they can partner with somebody to do one of them, but that's probably something I'm guessing that we probably have to do. And then secondly, the loan program I know is very popular with the employees. I can see where that would be a headache for an administrator, but obviously, as with many bids, we like to not draw it so specifically that we're precluding competition. And we didn't have a lack of competition here. There were others that bid on it. So I just had to ask those 2 questions in your report.
All right, is there a motion?
So item 38 is what we actually take action on, correct?
37 is just an update.
Okay, so I'll move to receive the update.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. And then item 38, I will move to approve the recommendation of the Retirement Board, which was selecting BOK. Correct.
Yes.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It was brought to my attention, we might not have formally voted on item 34 for the employees of the month. So just to be clear.
I'll move the item.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for that. Commissioner comments, District 1.
Last week, or maybe it was the week before, Lou Leak and I had the opportunity to tour Csu Youth Services. If you're not familiar with Csu, they serve youth as young as 14, 15, all the way up to 24, who find themselves without a home. And they do incredible work. The morning we were there, they had served 18 kids the night before, and they do a wonderful job of connecting kids with education and whatever they might need. The staff tries as best they can to be in contact with the parents if the parents are around. So it's a wonderful program, and they are actually in the process of building a new building and starting a capital campaign. So look them up if you're interested. Csu Youth.
District 3.
Again, just prayers, please, for Leonard Solon's family, his wife Marilyn. They're both very long-term friends of mine, and I know Commissioner Mons as well, and as well as the treasurers and friends of the sheriffs as well. He was a Fine County assessor, and before that, he and I served together in the legislature, and he was just an outstanding legislator, a very effective debater, and I could tell stories. He was a very funny man, among other excellent qualities, and I'm sure there'll be a great time for remembering many of those things. Also, lighter note, on this last weekend, my family and I attended the Fiestas de las Americas festival in Capitol Hill, which is wonderful. I got one of my children here, Joseph, and we had a great time, didn't we, Joseph, at the festival? Yeah, he's saying yes. So great job to all those involved in the festival.
The assessor and I were there as well, and thank them for all that they did. Okay, our new business item will be for PBA, right, Keith? That's not for this? Okay, and any citizens to be heard other than I've got 2 to sign up? I'm just asking if there are any others. If not, Mayor Pullen from Jones.
Good morning, and thank you. I am Ray Pullen. I'm the mayor of Jones, Oklahoma, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you today. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for all the work you have done on the North Canadian River in eastern Oklahoma County. It is much needed, and it's something that we must continue. There's no question that the past 18 months have been extremely trying times in our country. A distasteful presidential election amid a pandemic none of us could have predicted or imagined. American politics as partisan and vile as I've ever seen. Amid the chaos, the federal government has seemingly put aside some of their partisan politics in order to provide relief for American citizens. First in the form of the CARES Act, and now with the American Rescue Plan Act. In their wisdom, Congress determined that Americans would be classified into 2 categories: entitled cities and non-entitled units. Entitled cities are those of 50,000 population or greater, and non-entitled units are towns and cities of less than 500,000. 550 of the 585 towns in the state of Oklahoma are non-entitled units. Entitled cities were giving their ARPA funds directly, while non-entitled units were forced to wait and then apply through the state for their funds. Half of the funds being remitted upon approved application, the second half a year later in 2022. Evidently, Oklahoma County, I'm sure because of the combined population, was deemed an entitled county. I come to this conclusion because it's been reported by the Daily Oklahoman that Oklahoma County has received $154 million in ARPA funds. It has also been reported by the same publication that y'all are considering using it to fund a new jail. Excuse me. Having served on the very first Primary 9 jail committee some 20 years ago, I truly believe something needs to be done about our jail. But I don't believe it prudently serves all Oklahoma County citizens for all of these funds going to the jail. As we have heard some very passionate speeches, we know there are problems at the Oklahoma County Jail. ARPA funds are designed by the federal government to be used by governments to respond to the public health and economic emergency, provide premium pay to essential workers, replace revenue loss due to the pandemic, and make necessary investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. I'm quite certain that the Oklahoma's counties do not provide water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. Municipalities do. In July, the citizens of Jones voted for a 1-cent sales tax increase, and we just closed a $10 million loan with the Oklahoma Water Resources Board for water and wastewater improvements. Had we known ARPA funds may be available, we could have restructured our loan and decreased the sales tax ask. We, the mayors of Oklahoma, have been informed that stormwater abatement now is allowed to use ARPA funds. Being on the North Canadian River, Jones has many areas that are severely impacted by the stormwater runoff. Jones is to receive $53,000, and I hope to convince my board that we use it for a hydrology study and stormwater abatement. Our hydrology study alone could very well possibly cost upwards of $100,000. The remaining $453,000 will not go far towards abatement. And we're not alone. Every non-entitled unit in Oklahoma County is in the same quandary as how to fund our projects. The Honorable Kathy Cummings of the Village very eloquently spoke before you 2 weeks ago requesting ARPA funds for stormwater abatement in her community. Today, following her lead, I stand before you, the mayor of a non-entitled unit, hat in hand, and I respectfully ask the Oklahoma County Board of County Commissioners to please seriously consider allocating a portion of your ARPA funds to us non-entitled units. And please keep in mind when deciding how to spend these dollars that our constituents are your constituents. I had hoped that I could get more mayors from Oklahoma County here today. I emailed every mayor in Oklahoma County. I do see one more. As far as I know, there is just one more. At this time, I will yield my remaining time to any of the other mayors that would like to speak. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Matt Dukes, Mayor of Midwest City. I am an entitled city, but I don't come to you with my hat in hand, but I do remind you of a couple of things. I'm very lucky in Midwest City. We're able to fund most of our projects through our sales tax revenue and the way we operate. And again, I want to thank Commissioner Blumert for reaching out to us, and she took on one of our projects. It's been a menace for us for several years, and we're combining resources and moving forward with that. I do remind you that there are 26 communities in Oklahoma County, and most of them, like my friend from Jones, are in need. They don't have the resources that I do as a mayor. They don't have the resources to call upon in staffing and other things that you know as well as I do that require to be handled within the operations of any community. So I do ask of you that you reconsider my smaller neighbors around me in the distribution of these funds and help them out. I don't envy any of you in the jail issue. It obviously spurs a lot of emotion, and it's something you inherited, you didn't create. So my prayers are with you in that fact, and I hope that we can come to some kind of resolution, because it does affect everyone in Oklahoma County, obviously, either directly or indirectly, whether they realize it or not. Again, I appreciate the time to come before you today. I do owe you an apology. I have never, ever attended, in the 6 years that I've been mayor, a county commissioners meeting. That will change. This has been interesting. So, again, thank you. God bless you guys, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We called on it earlier. Nobody else stood forward.
What did he say?
So I'll just, since they're silent, which
We're adjourned. You can talk while we're waiting on the PBA to get convened.
Oh, so you just got to get in right under the line? Is that how it works?
You've already had your turn to speak multiple times.
Yeah, but about specific items.
Well, you carried
Not-
it well
not
beyond
about the
specific
things
items. And you
that
weren't
were
in the
tied to
room
those
when I
specific
called
items.
for a public comment.
Because I was being detained and asked for my ID for some reason. I'm not sure. The fifth floor is a weird place. But as you all know, some things are the spirit of a law and some things are the letter of the law.
There we go.
They did it. I'm listening. I said I'm listening. I'm just taking it all in. I'm just taking it all in. We don't even have anything up for consideration. We're waiting to get a legal interpretation of what we can and can't spend the money on. Oh, I can't even. Potentially. Okay, I need to call the PBA together. Yeah, there's a meeting convening right now. Okay, I will call the Public Buildings Authority together. It was properly posted on September 30th. All three trustees are present. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of September 20th?
I'll move we approve our minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Is there a motion to approve the claims?
I will move we approve our claims.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to receive the financial statements ended July 30th?
I'll move to approve. Move to receive.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We have 4 new parking space leases.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any citizens to speak before the PBA? Any board comments? Hearing none. New business, Keith Monroe.
There is a bit of new business. I received a telephone call last Friday from OG&E's Health and Safety Coordinator. It was too late to place this on today's agenda. What she was asking for was to use the top floor of Metro 2 as an outdoor space for their employee bake sale. It's a fundraiser for their different events. This would take place October 12th, 10:30 to 1 p.m. for OG&E employees.
I certainly have no problem with that.
And that top floor right now hasn't typically been filling up.
No.
Okay.
And
I don't have an issue with that.
and we lease this property from them.
Yeah.
We have a nice agreement with them.
Yes. Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve Mr. Monroe's request.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any other new business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hey, guys.